Hello and welcome to Meanwhile in the Falklands, the first one of 2020.
Woo! New Year podcast.
New Year podcast.
Amazing. So I am joined in the studio, or the room, with Hannah Newton
Hello.
and Kyle Nappett.
Hello.
How are we? Are we all right?
Not too bad. A little bit tired, but other than that,
We
doing okay.
are good. It's FITV's first. I'm going to do it again. FITV's first podcast of the year.
Woo!
Just in case you didn't realise we're FITV.
Brilliant. So we've been quite busy, to be fair. We've had quite a few events throughout the Christmas period.
Yes, we
So
have.
me and you, Kyle, we went to the speed shears and the shearing competition. Now that was all right, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a week full of shearing, full of sheep. It's very interesting because I don't know anything about sheep shearing, and I don't think you didn't really know much about it either, did you?
Oh no, absolutely no. It's brand new for me as well. So
Despite growing up in Yorkshire, doesn't know anything about sheep. Oh.
no, it's sheep shearing. I never went to an event like that before, and I found it fascinating. But
You guys are experts now, aren't you? I was going to
Experts, I
say,
know.
you've had the speed shears and the Falkland shears. So.
Ask me any question about sheep shearing, and I will probably know the answer, but possibly not. So. But no, it was good. It was interesting. It's we were saying earlier how sheep shearing is such a physical task, and you've got to keep control of the sheep and keep control of the shear and make sure you're not, and making sure it's all even and the lamb's not like squirming about too much and all that kind of
And
stuff.
some of them are connected to a static pole as well,
yeah,
aren't
they
they?
are.
So
They've
you've got to
some
kind
weird
of...
contraption. that,
Yeah,
is
it looks a
attached
bit
to the thing.
difficult and a
It
bit
does look
fiddly.
very, very difficult.
But it's
to
funny,
do.
it must be quite different because this is your first Christmas in the Falklands, Ollie, for you.
Absolutely.
How have you found it? I mean, normally you probably wouldn't be around sheep over Christmas.
yeah, no, it's been great. I mean, like I say, I spent Christmas at Paula's, and they were really nice, and quite a lot of people there as well, so that was nice. Had a game of Mario Kart,
Nice.
which was great as
Did you
well.
win?
I did, but yeah, pretty competitive. I missed out on the Connect 4 tournament, which was a shame, but
Aw.
hey ho, I think it was a ploy really for my family not for me to play, so I lost eventually.
Do you
But
think they were just pretending that the internet connection
Exactly.
was bad? And,
yeah. What did you guys do for Christmas anyway?
Well, it was my first Christmas in the Falklands as well.
Oh my god, it was, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Sorry, yes it was.
So it was very strange. I'm not used to having such sunny weather during Christmas and having a Christmas barbecue and doing all that kind of
It's a
stuff.
bit odd, isn't
It's a
it?
bit
Getting
strange.
used to it because for me, Christmas is all about being at home, being cold, being with your family, being indoors, hot chocolates.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve,
Being
staying
all
up watching
cosy.
the Christmas TV.
Exactly.
And actually here, it's a lot different.
Well,
And the tradition's a lot different because they've even got stuff like like the Boxing Day races
Yeah.
and things on
exactly.
Boxing Day, horse racing, which normally for me back at home we wouldn't be out watching sports or doing
No.
stuff like that for
Oh,
Christmas.
right,
But
okay.
it's quite a sporty Christmas.
I think usually for Boxing Day we just kind of sit around the house and eat what's left over from Christmas dinner
In your
and just kinda,
PJs, yeah.
chill out while everyone else uses their Christmas presents and stuff. But no, it was good. It was interesting. It's my first Christmas away from home as well. So that was
Aw, did you have any moments where you were a bit like...
yeah, I was a bit halfway through the day. I was a bit because I tried Skyping my mum, and she was literally about to leave the house to go to their Christmas dinner. So I got a quick Merry Christmas. How are you? Bye. And I was like, all right, bye.
You had quite
Cool.
a sad Christmas, didn't you? Because you did something different.
I did.
And I was very impressed you did this. And my mum, if she's listening, would be very impressed and going, oh, poor Kyle.
I went to the cinema, and I was the only person there.
But you-
And you know
Oh.
what? It was absolutely wonderful.
You had a
Oh,
private
that's good.
screening then,
Exactly.
so that was all
I had
right.
a private screening exclusive for me. I got free popcorn.
Oh really? I didn't know that
I
bit.
changed seats about 4
Was it
times.
pity
just 'cause I
popcorn?
could.
That was
It was
it.
pity popcorn.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. But no, it was good. I watched Knives Out, and it was a really good film, which was good because if it was a bad film, that would have just been even more depressing. But no, it was good. I enjoyed myself, and then afterwards I went to a lovely barbecue.
That I made you come to.
Hannah forced me to come. No, she invited me to come along, and I did.
And it was a bit different, wasn't it?
it was a
Because
bit different.
it wasn't your traditional turkey and things like that. Back at home, you used to your bird roasts and things and roast potatoes. But we had an asado,
Yeah.
which
Alright,
was like
okay.
a whole lamb on a spit, kind of, or not on a cross frame thing over a fire, and we had spit roast chicken and things, and it was
There
a bit
was so much food.
different. Yes,
Yeah.
a lot of food,
So much
overindulgence
food.
to say the
Overindulgence.
least.
That's what
Brilliant.
Christmas is for.
But it was really nice, wasn't it, to
Yeah.
actually
Brilliant.
be around people instead of being at home and kind of thinking, oh God. Because I don't know about you, but you might find this first Christmas at home, you kind of think, oh, I wish I was at home and I wonder what they're doing, and you just try and Skype them, and the internet's not very good here. And
Yeah, no,
stuff.
it's, it
And
was
it's
kind of
just-
freeze frame, so it was a
It's
bit
not
bit
the
different.
same, but
But
it's good.
speaking ahead of that, then you've kind of touched up on it before with the Boxing Day races. Now all three of us were there. You was on top with the, of the aerial view in the box, in the private box. Kyle, you was on the front finish on the front line.
I was out in the wilderness, is where I was.
It's unusual, isn't it? Because with horse racing, I don't know what you guys think, but when I first heard about Boxing Day races here, I thought it would be on a loop.
Yeah,
on a track,
well.
a proper track. But here in the Falklands, it's a straight 900 yards. Is it? It's between
something like that.
The races are between 5, 6, and 900 yards, and you kind of have to position yourself in different spots. So for us, you were right down the end. I was there last year. It's kind of a bit lonely, and you don't really know what's going on. You were at the finish line, and I'm up in the box, and you can't really communicate with each other, so you don't really know what's going on.
Well, we were sat, me and Paula were sat with all the judges, and I think it was the Chief Executives Cup, where all four of them were pretty much in the same line, and they had to use our footage to determine the winner, which was, I think it was by a nose.
Yeah,
the victor. I think it was
really close. It's quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can still, they've got like the totes and stuff, so you can put bets on and things. And I think people like to come out. The weather for once was
amazing.
Absolutely glorious.
It was, although I will say it was so bright that I could barely see what was going on the camera. So if there's bad and shaky footage from me, then that's why. I'm gonna blame the weather and not my own skills.
Yeah.
So just
because last year the weather was questionable and they were thinking about cancelling it and things, and they had to cancel another event, the Raft race that happens every year. That got postponed last year. So it was a little bit. This year I was glad that it was actually really, really nice, and we managed to get some good stuff. So tune into the show.
Tune in.
And look on YouTube as well. We've got the Boxing Day races. We covered the Governor's Cup, the Chief Executives, and the See Me Do It Cup.
Which
Not
was great.
all the races, but some of the races. Carl's getting ahead of himself.
We've got the most important ones.
Exactly. So if you're interested in what horse racing's like in the Falklands, and you're a big horse racing fan back at home in the UK or wherever you are,
it's a little bit different.
So we've gone from sheep shearing, which was great, the Boxing Day races or horses, and then we were on the water for the Raft race. Which was,
you had a great time.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
I'll give a bit of context. Every year, the Falklands Extreme Sports, which is kind of a company that do hockey and things like that, and all paintballing and all sorts of stuff. They put on this raft race where different members of the public make rafts in teams, and you have to go along the big stretch of water down the Narrows, whatever the weather, and try and make it to the first spot. And this year it was really windy.
Really windy.
So I was thinking, oh my God, all these people are going to end up falling in and all sorts. But we had, 6 rafts?
There were 7 rafts, but only one of them sank. And the one that sank was Geffen Morgan.
Solo effort.
Was a solo effort. And he had sank last year, and I think he didn't sink the year before, but I didn't think they did very well the year before. But no, he's well known for not doing very well in the Raft race.
Well, it was funny because we were going along, speeding along to try and catch up with him, and we just saw floating, his Mohican. It was like, is he okay?
Oh yeah,
because he had fancy dress, wasn't he? It was the best dress, so he had a big mohawk on and stuff. But Ollie, you managed to get on a boat, didn't you? So tell us, what was that like? Your first Falklands boat experience?
No, it was brilliant. It was full on going for it, like really fast. So it was great to see, and some really, really nice angles there as well. But like I said, I just think it was funny that the guy that sang, we tried to save him because he got stuck in the kelp, you see. And that was quite, trying to help him save. But we couldn't eventually because obviously we were quite shallow in the shallow waters, and it can kind of get in the propellers.
Of the boat,
so we had to leave him, leave him behind. Unfortunately, I felt sorry for him.
He made some really interesting raft actually out of plastic bottles and a kid's slide underneath for flotation.
It was all made out of recycled materials, which was nice.
Well, you guys, because you guys were on the shore, you guys interviewed him as well for the.
Yes, we did.
Which is quite interesting because obviously we got footage of him sinking as well. So, but he was talking about how how his new design. I think he put a slide underneath, did it or something, to try and make him more buoyant. That's it.
It didn't end up working very well.
But he did win best dressed, which is good. So he won a case of Budweiser, which you can't complain about, can you?
You can't.
And then there was a nice prize giving at the end at the Narrows restaurant.
No, it was all good.
Spoons and stuff.
Yeah. It was all good fun. It was, like I say, everyone was smiling. It was a good little event as well.
I will say though, if it's a raft race and there was a lot of people using sails, and I felt like that gave them a bit of an unfair advantage.
Raft race, there was no set rules about, as long as it's not motorised.
That's true, but still.
If we had an FITV one, what do you reckon we should make? Apparently we've done one a few years ago.
I think we should do one.
I wouldn't know what I'd make it out of.
Get a bathtub or something?
Yeah.
You know what we should have made it out of? The old desks that we had.
Oh yeah,
That
that
would
would have
be
been a
good.
good one, wouldn't it? Can you imagine?
That would have been amazing. Or take the old sofa.
Yes.
Put that out on the water.
Well, someone, funny you should say it, the Rick and Mortys, they had a raft where they had somehow attached a armchair on the top, and I was quite impressed that didn't sink, because I would have thought the weight of a proper big heavy armchair would make it go down. I'd like to be the person sitting on that though, kind of delegating and supervising. Rope. But was it what you expected? You know, when we said to you, right, we're going to go cover a raft race.
Yeah.
What did you expect it to be like?
Well, when I heard I was on the boat, I was quite excited because I've done a lot of boating before, because I used to work on the canal boats back in good old Yorkshire.
You can watch Ollie's hello video to see him on those canal boats.
Yeah, that's
plug on YouTube.
It seems so long ago that, and it was only 3 weeks ago. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and you could probably see as soon as I got off the shore, I was like, that was awesome. It was no, it was brilliant. But thank you very much to Dick Saw who kind of helped, got us on the boat and to do some really, really nice shots. To film as well, which was really nice of him.
It was funny because when you came ashore, you had like a wet and windswept hairdo and caught the sun, and it was nice. But we've actually lucked out this Christmas. We've had quite an outdoorsy Christmas.
Yeah.
If you think about it, we've been out for the boxing. I mean, I was in the box, but you got out and about. You guys got some sun, which is nice.
There's not been much chance to kind of stay in, be lonely, which is nice. Especially if it's the first Christmas down here. We've been out and about all over the place and filming and working, and it's been nice.
And this week, I think in my head I was thinking, we're going to be struggling for news. First week back, lots of people are still away on holiday and things like that, so it's quite difficult to scrape around for stories. But we've actually got a really nice jam-packed show full of sporty things.
Yeah.
Full of sport.
Not only sports. You had a nice little interview, didn't you, with Tex Alazic?
So he's received, conferred a British Empire Medal. For his service, for his charity work with the Cancer Trust. So he was a really, really a nice guy to interview.
What a nice way to start a new year as well. Imagine
exactly,
the feeling it must be to
get an honour from the Queen.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I mean, to be fair, you walk around and he's saying hello to everyone, and people are saying hello back to him. So he's clearly deserves it, and he's clearly a respected member of the community anyway.
But that's the thing you'll find here. The longer you're here, you'll realise that the Falkland Islands community is very charitable, all about the community, all about raising funds for different charities, setting up things. At nearly every event that we cover is charity
events.
Fundraisers.
Every event that happens down here, it's like, how much do they? Oh, a couple of £1,000, something like that.
For a small community as
well.
No,
it's good. It's really, really
3,000,
and
half of them are OPX,
It's amazing.
No, it's brilliant, and it's, like I say, congratulations to him. I suppose as well, New Year's Eve is usually a big event for me at home, but it was nice to spend it here as well. We went to your house to a game of charades and have the barbecue.
We had quite a nice New Year's because we were filming the raft. We obviously knew we were filming the raft race the next day, so we thought, we can't go out and have too much of a jolly. But we all came around and we played charades and general knowledge quiz and stuff, which was good. We had a barbie. Lots of barbecues here.
Lots of barbecues.
Too many barbecues, I think. I'm all barbecued out.
I'm not
complaining.
I'm not complaining.
Now looking out the window, the weather is pretty awful, so maybe the barbecue season is over. But
say that.
But it was
more barbecues.
But I was just quickly gonna ask: do you guys make any New Year's resolutions? Because I forgot to mention that. Do you guys make any New Year's resolutions at all, or is it not for you?
We'll let Carl go. Carl's got a face as long as a fortnight, which makes me think.
Here we go. Brace yourself.
Rolling his
Brace
eyes.
yourself.
That maybe he might not.
I don't make New Year's resolutions because I just think I'm setting myself up to fail. So I try to enter the year with a bit more positivity and go, you know what? If what happens will happen.
Laid back.
Laid back
approach.
What about you, Olly?
If I set a goal, I'll probably fail it. So why not?
Yeah, I've made a few. I'm quite opposite to that, but fair enough. No, I've made a few that I'd like to keep. I mean, one's obviously the standard. Get to the gym, get a bit fitter, and all that. So we'll see how long that lasts.
Has that. Yeah.
That's my New Year's resolution every month.
Life resolution.
Every 2 weeks, it's like, you know what? I should probably do some more exercise. Happens.
How about you, Hannah? Have you made any?
I haven't actually. To be honest, with me, with the New Year, I always like to start off with a bit of a detox. Clean the house, sort out all my stuff, because you accumulate so much stuff over Christmas and presents and
so you have a bit of a winter
and stuff.
clean.
So I have a winter clear out. I always have the same resolution that is to do with a horrible habit I have, and listeners probably know what it is if they know me, but I shall not say what it is.
Email us your thoughts if you guess what.
Guess Hannah's horrible habits. But so that's always a resolution for me. Do I ever make it? Probably not.
Yeah.
Go down the gym, always a good one. Eat more healthy. But I don't know. As long as I'm happy, I think, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing, then it's fine. But as soon as I'm like, oh God, I'm not happy, then I'm like, okay, right, things need to change. But I always like to have a good clear out for me.
Yeah.
Clearing out, detox. I had a pamper evening last night.
Oh, nice.
I had a bath, put a face mask on. I was kind of just chilling out and tidying up, and
That's good.
That's
good.
Well, yeah, that's brilliant.
What are yours? What are yours?
You can't really. I don't really reveal them yet. I mean,
you
can't.
and then not reveal.
And not
yours.
reveal. You've got to do a big
What
reveal.
a cop out.
All right. Well, I mean, no, I can't really reveal it too much until it actually happens. Then I'll come into the office and be like, yes, I've done it.
That's not how this works. Where's the accountability?
Join the football team, the Stanley football team. There we go.
That's one, yeah. Well, no, to be fair, I was only joking, but there's a lot of them that I want to join a lot of societies and events here because there's so much that goes on and there's so much that I kind of want to try and experiment with. And there's so many people that are quite passionate for their sport, so I really want to give it a go, whether that's archery or as Kyle's knitting or the
Weaving,
Weaving circle.
Weaving circle.
But that's the thing that here you've got to you really throw yourself into everything.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's quite easy to not get out and about, especially with the weather being not very nice. And there's always stuff going on for such a small place. I found when I first came, I was really shocked at how much stuff there actually is to do for a small place.
Yeah.
You know, everyone and people who are doing their different hobbies or sports or charity work are so passionate about it.
Yeah.
It's like they're always working on it and stuff, and I don't know, it's good to get involved and see what they're up to.
Everything.
Yeah. I'm going to try that for the first few months. As well, what's coming up? So we've got quite a few exciting things coming up, haven't we? So we've got my driving lesson.
Oh,
so
yes.
That's exciting.
Do tell.
Do tell.
Well, I mean, it's there's 4x4s here, isn't there? So you've got to get used to that. Driving 4x4s.
Is it fair to say you're a bit used to a bit more luxurious driving with parking sensors and
dash
cams and all that?
Yep, you're
we'll have
right.
to take a photo of the FITV car and post it on the podcast so you can get an idea of what it's like in the old rust bucket.
We also have quite a big day actually, Margaret Thatcher Day.
Yeah, this is quite an interesting day. So last year I did a piece on Margaret Thatcher Day, and it was really interesting because I went around and interviewed quite a lot of members of the community. I think I interviewed about 5 different people, different jobs and stuff, who remember her visit to the Falklands after the war.
Oh, that's cool.
And I found some really old footage of her actually coming, and all these kids and stuff, way parading in the streets, who are now adults.
Oh, wow.
So I was I managed to interview, one of the ladies I interviewed was actually a child in this piece of footage, and I showed her it, and she was kind of like, oh my God, look at me. But so that package will be coming out in the show next week. Yeah. It's just a bit of context about what Margaret Thatcher Day is and stuff like that, but she's a very important figure here in the islands. And there's a bust of her. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I've seen it, yeah. I've had a nice little tour around.
Down in town,
Kyle
there's a
showed me
nice
it.
iron bust that was made by a local, Steve Massam actually, made by a really good artist down here. So that will be coming out.
Brilliant.
But we've also got...
the return of the Burns Night.
Yes.
Which is
The
going to be
return
exciting.
of the Burns Night. So I don't know if listeners may remember the podcast last year, but we had a girl working for FITV called Katie, and she was Scottish, very passionate, very Scottish, very passionate about Burns Night. So she organised with Paula and a lady from the Malvina House Hotel. They organised a Burns Night supper, which they had the haggis, they'd ordered in, they had toasts to the lassies and toasts to the lads, and then they had Scottish dancing and all sorts of stuff, tartan, kilts.
Oh, wow.
People turned up, and it went down an absolute treat. So we have revived it, and we're doing it again this year, 25th of January on the Saturday. You guys will be helping out. We'll be right behind the bar. We're doing the whiskies and the drams.
Do we have kilts to wear?
You guys have to wear kilts.
Oh, really?
So we shall find you some tartan fabric and sport you something, but hopefully we'll get you some sort of secure underwear to go underneath, just in case there's a slip up. We don't want to give anyone a fright. They might end up going home. Do you know what I mean? So we'll be doing that, which should be
good. I've never been to a Burns Night.
I've never been either.
Really,
it's going to be interesting.
really good fun. And also, should I say, it's our first event we've hosted without Paula and Steve.
Ooh,
so Paula and Steve, if you're listening.
Yep. Preparations are underway.
Do not worry. Tickets are being printed.
Yep.
and it's all
Things are
under control. And we are not having wild parties in the office whilst we're away.
Brilliant.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet, yes.
And we also, next week, we have a foot and mouth piece that we're going to plan to do, so that's going to be exciting.
Well, this was an idea I thought might be quite nice for you. At the end of last year, I can say that now, last year. At the end of last year, the agricultural department did an exercise to... like a mock-up exercise to see how they would respond to an outbreak of a disease in the islands of something like foot and mouth. So I thought as a follow-up it might be nice as Olly's first presenter-led for FITV, because I know you did your hello video, but that was half at home, half here, to maybe do something and explore that a bit further. So that should be quite good. If not, I'll maybe give you something even more difficult.
Oh yeah, nice. Throw them on my way.
What we will say is there will be a presenter-led piece by Olly, his first... proper FITV journalist. Suits on, suited and booted, tie clips
brilliant.
and cufflinks. So
make sure you
tune in for next week.
Tune in for that.
Exactly. And finally, the last thing as well is we're going to go and watch a new movie, which is super exciting.
Very exciting. Well, this is why the listener must tune into the show, because there's a very exciting little clip of you guys. Sporting lightsabers, or attempting to. Olly's having a go at putting some lightsabers, photoshopping some lightsabers into the shot. But watch that, because you two get rather excited about this film.
If you can't tell, we're obviously talking about Star Wars.
Yes.
hence the lightsabers. But yeah, the new Star Wars movie has come out in the islands finally. It's been hotly anticipated. So they were fending off people's requests for Star Wars for a while because people were so eager to get seats. But now it's finally on sale, and we're going to go down and watch it next Wednesday. Well,
this is the thing. We were looking at the shows. They've got a couple of showings for it.
Yes.
But they are fully booked. You can only get your old one seat on its own. So that's why we're seeing the last showing of it, actually, which is Wednesday, I think, is the last showing, maybe, or the second to last showing. So we're going to go and see that. So you can hear all about our review of that. When you just wait till next week's podcast when Carl goes, oh, God.
But the podcast is going to be full spoilers for Star Wars.
Yes.
FYI.
But the thing is, Hannah, you haven't read the plot. Neither have I. So we're going in kind of blind. Whereas Kyle, you've read it.
We did it, but we watch it like we should watch it.
Yeah.
You know, going into it, just seeing what happens. Carl likes to spoil the film before he's even gone and seen it, judge it, have a prejudgment, and then it never lives up to expectations.
No.
Each to their own.
Yes.
I'd already heard about a bunch of stuff that had happened in it, so I thought, well, why not just lead the plot, because I basically know what's happening anyway. And also, it's the third film of Star Wars. It's not a film if it was an Avengers film, I'd probably care more about spoilers. But for Star Wars, I'm a bit like, it's alright. Don't worry. I know the good guys win in the end. Like it's not whatever.
Well, anyway, you have to tune in to our podcast next week to hear Carl's review of that.
My review of Star Wars.
But if well, listener, you're probably already subscribed to us, but if you want to listen to our podcast or any of our old podcasts, we've got them on YouTube, we've got them on SoundCloud, and we've got them on iTunes, so you can listen to that.
Yep.
You can also watch some clips from the show on our YouTube channel. We've been updating that quite regularly, so that's quite exciting.
I think we're fully up to date on that.
Got the Boxing Day races on there. We're going to have the speed cheers on there, so you can actually understand what we're talking about and see it. Also, the show will be out today, so if you want to watch that, go to fitv.co.fk. If you can buy a ticket for one episode, you can subscribe for a year for £60.
It's a bargain.
Why not? Bargain, you get to see our faces every week. Hear our voices and see our faces, should I say.
What more could you ask for?
But yeah, so we're week 462, so make sure you check that out.
Yes.
We're also on KTV. God knows what channel, because that seems to change all the time.
We're still figuring that
But if you want to
out.
see us in HD and you're in the islands, get KTV.
Yes.
Brilliant.
You can see Carl in full blown glory.
HD.
Anyway, we will catch up with you next week for our next podcast, and I think it's episode number 83. We're going to say.
Or 84.
We're nearly hitting our 100th episode, so maybe we'll do something special.
Centenary podcast.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Okay, well, we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.